Welcome to the Morning Track Power Hour. I am Dr. Andrew Scaff. He is Dr. Michael Werman, Esquire. On today's show, we'll be continuing our look at the quarterbacks of the NFL and the NFC and AFC North divisions. This will be our third part of our four-part series. We're past the halfway point, Mike. We're finally seeing the home
Finally.
stretch soon.
Yes.
Uh, we'll also talk a little bit about the Chiefs' second preseason game, which did not look so great. But we'll lead today with something that is looking a little better. The Kansas City Royals season is maybe looking up a bit. They've won five in a row now. They've uh, won the first two games of their series against the Texas Rangers, who were ahead of them slightly uh, in our last episode, Mike. Are you now confident that the Royals are on the right track, or is this maybe just finding a little bit of a soft spot in the schedule and you're still concerned about their playoff chances?
Well, I guess I'm still concerned with their playoff chances. I think they are playing a lot better. They're getting hot. Maybe one of the hotter team, probably one of the hottest teams in the league right now, other than maybe the Milwaukee Brewers. And the Royals have won eight out of their last 10 games now. ESPN lists them as an 18.2% chance of making the playoffs,
That's still
um,
pretty low.
which is not super high, but it's better than it was. I think it was 13% just a few couple of days ago. So they're still winning. Um, yeah, they're only a half game. They're only Right now, they're 2.5 games out of the wild card as it sits right now. It'll depend on what happens with. Looks like the Yankees are and it looks like actually they're the all three wild card spots look like they're in play at this point, given the way teams have been playing. The Yankees are only 3 games up right now, though they're winning right now against the Tampa. Uh, Tampa Rays. But anyway, it looks like the Royals are in striking distance with all of these, teams now. So it was looking like the Royals were, they were six. It seemed like they were 7 games behind a lot of the wild card teams. Now they're only about 3 games behind any of them. So, um, who knows what'll happen? But if the Royals keep winning, that's always good. I don't know if they'll make the playoffs, but at least they're making it interesting. And hopefully they don't fade down the stretch, but they continue to play solid baseball. So, but what's their schedule like coming up?
We've got two more games against the Rangers, who they've really had, the Rangers' number so far this season. I think they're 6-0, 5-0 against them so far with the two games left.
Hmm.
And then they will get three-game series at the Tigers,
That'll
which
be
will be
tough.
tough. Three games at the White Sox.
A little easier.
Then they come home to face the Tigers again, and the Angels and then Twins will be here after that. So that's their next three, four, five series coming up. So they've got
That's
two series
cool.
against the division leading Tigers. So that pretty important games to make sure they hold their own in those, right?
Yeah, if they could somehow take 2 out of 3 against Detroit, that would be a big.
Well, if they can just end up 3-3 against them in the two series, across the two series, but then beat up on the weaker teams, that will be good enough, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That would
But
be.
it would be nice if they could win one of those series
Hmm.
against the Tigers.
Yeah. If they go 3-3, they will have to win one of those series against.
Yes,
They'll either go 2-1 in one series or 3-0 in one series.
right.
Yeah, a victory. But yeah, so I don't know they don't have the starting pitchers lined up yet for the Tigers series. They have. Oh wait, they do. They do have it's Waka, Lugo, Cameron. So it's actually it's Burger, Waka, Lugo. So uh pretty good
Spurgert,
Waka than
Waka,
Lugo.
Lugo.
And they
And
aren't
then
going to play.
in
There's
the
no
second series, it would be Waka, Lugo, Cameron.
yeah, and
Is
there's no
how they're lined up right now.
and there's no Scooball in the first series.
Oh, that's right.
So maybe the Royals could.
They could in theory completely miss him both times if they're very, very
Yeah.
lucky.
Yeah.
No Scooble? Yeah, sure. That'd be perfect. The I think the Royals are close to getting several players back. There are gonna be some decisions to be made here pretty soon. Have you seen this? At the end of August they have three players who like have to be returned to the major league team to clear from the injury list. They've got uh, Michael Massey um, and Jack Caglione, and also Mark Canna, I think. But I think they may have
They
gone
designated
ahead and
they designated Canna for assignment
they
already.
preemptively made one of those moves.
There's still one space on the 40-man roster right now, I think. At least there was when they designated Canna for assignment. So I don't know exactly. I don't know how that'll work when they have. There's also expanded rosters starting in September, right? But it's not quite like what it used to be.
right.
So
It's
I'm not
just
exactly.
three more players open. But their deadline for activating some of these players is before the
Hmm.
September 1st deadline. So
They
they'll
might
have to
have
come
to
up,
like
and so somebody else will have to. They don't have to be like released from the roster. They just have to be dropped from the
like
major league
demoted to
roster.
Omaha or something
But then
quickly.
once they do that, they have to like be down there for a certain amount of time. So they have to be really careful about who they move around.
Yeah, but when September is, I don't know if September changes the being down for a certain time.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure how they
Like you
have
might
to handle
demote John
something.
Rave for a stretch or
Couple of
something like
days or something.
that.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
some of the
Or
one,
maybe they can try to squeak by with one particular reliever
yeah,
uh, being down for a couple of extra days.
yeah, something like that. But or I guess you could keep Caglione doesn't have to go back to the major league roster. He could stay at
No,
Omaha.
he has to be reactivated off of the
Oh, does he?
because he was sent to the injured list,
From
and then the injured list has a rehab assignment. But
mhm.
when there's some length of time that's set that they have to return to the major league roster before they make
I see.
whatever the next roster move is.
Okay.
So they'll have to redo the roster at that point. He's been playing really, really well at AAA. Have you seen his numbers there?
He's batting 500 at least somewhat recently.
He's betting like just right around 500. I think he only struck out like one time in the 5 games, drawn a couple walks and a couple home runs.
Hmm.
So yeah, he seems to be back to full full capacity. He's like running well, playing the field well. So he's making the Royals have to make a decision here because uh, they have to do something about it. But whether they bring him up or not, it seems to be, you know, they're going to slow play it again, it looks like.
Yeah, rehab assignment can be no longer 20 days. Royals are no hurry to bring him back because it's rehab 20th day of September 1st, it says. So supposedly maybe they could hold off.
Oh, I thought it was before September 1st, so maybe that was
At least so Sports Illustrated
okay.
says September 1st is his.
Maybe they like didn't retroactively assign him, something like that, purposefully to not have
Yeah.
to bring him up. Usually when they put someone on the injured list, they make it retroactive to the last game that they played.
Yeah.
So maybe they did some finagling there to avoid having to make that roster move before September 1st.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
we'll
So
see.
he
We'll
was.
see what happens.
We'll see what happens. But that's a good problem to have. Maybe having too many, because they did bring in a lot of outfielders once after Caglione went down. They brought in Grichuk, they brought in Yastrzemski, uh, they brought in Frazier back. Um, all three of them have played fairly well.
Mhm.
especially Yastrzemski. He's hit a lot of home runs.
Yeah, his batting average has been pretty low, but he's come through with some fairly big home runs.
He's
And
got a good,
Frazier's been hitting really well. I mean, he's been hitting around 500 over the last week or so,
yeah,
which is seemingly more surprising. But
yeah. So it's been the Royals. I think it's been the offense carrying the team so far. The pitching staff hasn't been quite as good. Although Legal pitched pretty well tonight. Just allowed two solo home runs basically.
but
Um,
he had been terrible in his last two starts, so
yeah,
it's nice to see him
bounce
recovering.
back. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on the Royals. They're looking frisky, and maybe we'll sneak into one of those wild card positions. But there's still a lot of games left to be played. I think 36 games left on the season, something like that. So um, like anything could happen in that amount of time. Um, we want to switch over to football and
Sure.
talk about. So I have the Royals 2015 World Series shirt on. You have a Chiefs shirt on. So we'll switch from the Royals to the Chiefs. The Chiefs though are looking not so good in preseason. They lost another game handily to Seattle in the second preseason game. Although Mahomes didn't play, Kelsey didn't play, some of the other starters didn't play. Um, is this anything to be concerned about, or is it just preseason? Do you think, Dr. Scaff?
I think it's mostly just preseason, but yeah, the run defense didn't look particularly good. Seattle ran pretty much all over them at will. So that's something you don't really want to see at all, because that's one of those sort of more of a defensive philosophy sort of things, right? It's a strategy across the team rather than an individual that's being able to like stop a defense from running against, stopping a running back from getting into your defense, right?
Yeah.
It's less individual personnel
Yeah,
related
although you
than
like
team
to,
philosophy.
say Chris Jones really helps a lot with the run defense.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where sometimes it is personnel that are in there
Yeah.
that play better than others. But yeah, it's one of those things where again the Chiefs don't want to show what they're trying to do against the run, so
Sure.
just playing kind of vanilla fronts and just not really operating in any particular strategic way. So it's hard
Yeah.
it's hard to say what is going on in those games, and especially also the starters only play one series. So even like sometimes the first series is just one where doesn't go so well, but then the others, and then you start building things together as time goes on, or it just
Yeah.
it's hard. It's a small sample size, but
Like the
yeah.
Chiefs tend to like structure their first series, like they write it, like basically script it ahead of time,
Uh-huh.
typically, right?
For offense, at least, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what they do on the defensive
Yeah.
end,
Defensively, you can't really do that, but yeah.
um, but yeah, I guess was the highlight the Sky Moore punt return? Does that mean that you think that means Sky Moore is going to make the roster this year? He's been kind of one of the low receivers on the totem pole most of the season. I think he didn't he have a
Yeah.
couple of drops in this game too. Uh, I think.
He had not looked very good in the game up until that point. So uh yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's pretty tough getting on making I mean, it's not terrible to get to like expect to get onto the roster as a return man.
Mhm.
But and then you're available then if you are needed in other roles. But it does seem like the Chiefs are maybe going to be carrying an extra wide receiver, so he's still got a chance to be there. I think he's
Yeah,
got enough history with the team to
Remigio,
be.
or it seems like Tyquan
Yeah,
Thornton maybe is working his way into the starting
yeah,
at least. He was drafted about the same time as Sky Moore, second rounder from about 3 years ago.
yeah,
Hadn't really done much until ever, I guess. Little, maybe even less than more, but maybe he had some potential. Very fast guy. But yeah, it's hard to say what the Chiefs are doing. Supposedly, the starters will play more in the third preseason game. Who are they playing? Do you know?
uh I haven't been paying attention,
Me either.
but I can find out pretty quick.
Let's find out.
They're playing the Bears
The
Friday night.
Bears.
Friday night, Mike.
Ooh, Friday night with Caleb Williams and Chicago Bears. We will talk about the Chicago Bears tonight on our NFC North roundup, quarterback roundup. So we should you want you have, is there any other comments regarding the Chiefs, or should we jump into the quarterback uh, review?
I was going to mention just kind of a follow-on to our 2 weeks ago preview from the Chiefs was that Gardner Minshew does look really solid as the number two quarterback on the roster. He played
Yeah.
like most of the first half and looked really good. They did flip the order in which they were appeared in this game from the previous one, and Zappy did went to the four spot, and Oladokin played, this third string with the second quarterback in the game this week, and he looked pretty decent again, and Zappy again did not look very good. You think Zappy's on the way out then, or what do you think's going to happen with the
I don't know
quarterback
what's going to happen
situation?
with Zep. It depends on how, probably depends on how they do in practice too. You don't
Yeah,
want your season's pretty much done if you have either of those quarterbacks in as your guy, probably, I would say.
yeah,
Although Happy has had some success in the NFL in certain situations. So maybe you can say, well, maybe Zappy um, could be okay as the third quarterback. Old Oaken doesn't have any track record, but maybe he's been developing in the Chiefs system for multiple years now. So maybe he's somebody that the Chiefs would keep ahead of Zappy. I don't really yeah, I don't really know at this point. If Zap, maybe Odokun is the guy compared at least for the third spot. It looks like it right now, but it's hard to say. Maybe the last preseason game might uh
yeah.
determine things. Um
But we still don't expect the starters to get take a lot of playing time here. There's still probably going to be what, one or two series, maybe the whole
Maybe a
quarter.
quarter, yeah, maybe a
Yeah,
quarter. So it depends on how many series that might be.
yeah,
Um yeah. So, which is more than sometimes. Sometimes the starters don't play at all in the third preseason game. But this one, I think it's like they decided the second preseason game was the least important. And I'm not exactly sure what the strategy is or what the reasoning behind all of it is. But I'm sure Andy Reid has some strategy going in. The Chiefs are going to be a hungry team trying to get back to the Super Bowl, trying to win the Super Bowl after losing it last year. If they make it back to the Super Bowl, they'd be only the second team ever to make four straight Super Bowls after the Buffalo Bills of the early 90s, who, of course, lost all four of their Super Bowls. But the Chiefs won their first two of the four if they make it, and so hopefully they could win at least three of four if they come back. But cementing their dynasty status. But we'll see what happens. It's a long season. Hopefully the Chiefs will have um, good things happen for them. Should we uh, move on to the NFC? We'll talk about the NFC North first, and then talk about the AFC North when we talk about quarterbacks. Uh, we'll just I thought we could go from west to east, kind of, with the NFC North and the AFC North. So the westernmost NFC North team is the Minnesota Vikings, uh, and the Vikings. It looks like they're going to start JJ McCarthy as um, the starting quarterback this year. He was injured all of last year. He had a torn ACL, I believe, in the preseason. He was maybe expected maybe to even start ahead of um, Sam Darnold last year, but Darnold ended up being the starter. He's 2024 first round draft pick out of Michigan. 22 years old, so he's a young guy. So this is also something that we have been harping on in the Power Hour. These old drafted quarterbacks are, maybe not, they're maybe fool's gold, I think, to some extent, because they're already 24, 25, 26 by the time they get out of the draft. So they're still like 2, 3, or 4 years old, 4 years older than a lot of their competitors are. So they hit their peak later, uh, or they'll have a much shorter peak. I think drafting a younger quarterback with upside, I think still maybe it's a little less safe, but I think it's better for a longer term. uh, steal. But McCarthy, of course, won the national championship at Michigan in 2023. Had a great season. He wasn't asked to do a whole lot as a quarterback in college because of then Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh's running oriented roster. But he threw 22 touchdowns, only four interceptions in Michigan's uh, 15 and 0 championship season. He's 6'2.5", so tall-ish. Um, he's been named the starter already after Darnold signed with the Seahawks, so there's no real competition for the starting position. Um, the backups are there's three backup quarterbacks listed on the roster. Probably, I would guess Sam Howell is the primary backup. Uh, and Sam Howell himself is only 24 years old, so he's been around for a little while. He was a fifth round draft pick in 2022 by Washington. He's been with the Commanders for 2 years, 2022, 2023. Then last year he was with Seattle, so he kind of switched places with Sam Darnold. The Sams switched places, Darnold for Howell, and then Howell is on the Vikings this year, former North Carolina quarterback. Did have one season as a full-time starter with Washington in 2023, only a 4-13 record. He threw for almost 4,000 yards though, 21 touchdowns, 21 interceptions as well, 78.9 QB rating. So he was replaced by Jaden Daniels and the new coaching administration that came in last year with the Commanders. So he was sent to Seattle, where he was just a backup to Geno Smith and didn't really play a whole lot. So, um, but I would guess we probably think Howell is probably the primary backup in Minnesota. Um, there's also Brett Rippon, former uh, Broncos quarterback, Rams quarterback, also played for the Seahawks in 2023. Jets was in 2023 on the roster for the Bears last year. Also has been on the roster for the Vikings last year as well. He has a 2-2 record as a starter, only a 59.9 career quarterback rating, four touchdowns, nine interceptions. Most of his time as a starter came for all of his games started, except for one came for the Denver Broncos. But Brett Rippon is I think, nephew of former Washington Redskins quarterback Mark Rippon, Super Bowl winner in the early 90s. Um, but uh, yeah, so that's Brett Rippon. He's been around for a while. I think he was a uh, undrafted quarterback out of Boise State back in 2019. So he's been in the league for a while. He's 29 years old at this point, 6'2", 210 pounds. So he's probably the third quarterback at this stretch. And then we also have quarterback number four, somebody that neither you nor I had heard of going into tonight, as Max Brosmer. Max Brosmer is 24 years old. He was born in Davenport, Iowa, Dr. Scott.
Oh,
Does that make you
Quad City.
intrigued uh, by Brosmer? Although he was high school, went to Georgia for high school. He played college at New Hampshire, and then 2024 he was the starter at Minnesota, University of Minnesota. So he didn't have very far to go to get on the Vikings roster. Maybe he crossed the river. Um, Maybe not.
So,
I can't think of exactly where the Minnesota University of Minnesota Stadium is in relation to um, the Viking Stadium, but he didn't have very far to go. But he played really well at New Hampshire, which I think is an FCS school, and then he was a 7-5 record as a starter at Minnesota, 17 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. He is not a running quarterback. He rushed for negative 34 yards last season in Minnesota, but he did rush for 5 touchdowns. So maybe he's a goal line kind of uh, guy, but um, undrafted free agent out of the Minnesota Golden Gophers, also former New Hampshire Wildcat. So Davenport, Iowa is one of the 5 quad cities, as we've talked about before on this uh, on this podcast. Uh,
Yes.
do you think so? Do you think there should be 5 quad cities? Do you think
Or should they call it something else?
Quint cities,
Twin cities that would make the most sense,
or
I
should
guess.
or should the original 4 quad cities only be the original 4, and you can't get into that quad cities, even if
Yeah.
you are East Moline, Illinois, which is maybe has a higher population, uh, 21,374, which might be higher than uh, no, Bettendorf is 39,000. Rock
Yeah,
Island,
I think if you pass one, then you become the fourth of the
yeah,
quad,
Rock Island
and
is
then the other
30.
one gets ousted, right?
Rock Island is 37,000. Yeah,
Yeah. It's like there
Moline.
can be only four, so one of you has to go, right?
Yeah, East Moline is not large enough to be. It's the 5th largest, and it's only named East Moline. It's a suburb. It's a satellite of regular Moline, Illinois.
Right.
So I don't think East Moline should be counted as one of the quad cities.
No. Which is
Davenport,
the greater statistical Moline area.
yeah,
That's what you're
Davenport
saying?
is the largest of the quad cities with over 100,000
Yeah.
people, um, right across the river from Moline, Moline. Um, but anyway, that's the hometown of Max Brosmer.
What's funny is everyone has always been singing that song incorrectly because it is like you just like you just sang it. That's the correct version, right?
The Moline. Yes,
Yeah.
Doc Martin spent a lot of time in the Quad Cities, but
Oh,
yeah,
it is strange. The ESPN has Rosmer's birthplace as Georgia, Roswell, Georgia. But his ESPN site or the Wikipedia page says it's Davenport.
Wikipedia says he moved to Roswell, Georgia in middle school.
Yeah. NFL.com. As I've been like switching through the different like sites just to see what is it different everywhere or what they list it not as birthplace but as hometown on NFL's site.
Of Davenport.
They list the hometown of Roswell, Georgia. So like
Hmm.
maybe he considers like he grew up in
Hmm.
Roswell, so maybe that's why they say that instead of
We'll
because it doesn't say
consider
birthplace, it says hometown.
Yeah, we'll consider him a Davenport, Iowa uh, native.
Yeah. He
Just
was
like
born in Davenport. That's where he's from, right?
this is just like you consider Joe Burrow and Ames, Iowa.
Yes. He's from Ames. He was born there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you did have those quarterbacks in the order that they played in the most recent preseason game as well. So, uh, although they did not necessarily play very well in that order, though either Howell was only, I think, 1 for 5 with an interception.
Yeah.
So that's not ideal for your primary
Yeah.
backup.
It's a fairly, yeah, there's no real veteran. I guess Brett Rippon at this point is the most veteran of the quarterbacks. So it's a kind of very young quarterback room. Um, a little bit,
Yeah.
it's a little bit, it's young, a little bit like the Packers also have a very young quarterback room. We'll talk about the Packers now, I guess, uh, with Jordan Love as their starter. Uh, Jordan Love, who has kind of come into his own as a decent player the last couple of years after the retirement of Aaron Rodgers. He's been maybe took a he played
Listing of Aaron Rodgers, maybe? It's not really retirement, right?
not retirement. I mean the moving away of Aaron Rodgers. I guess
Yes.
the shuffling out of Aaron Rodgers from Green Bay for
Yeah.
retirement. He's still playing, of course. Um,
Right.
but uh, maybe a few.
Much maligned on this show, even I believe,
Yes,
in the
yes,
past.
yes.
Jordan Love.
Jordan Love.
Yeah. And Aaron Rodgers too. He's been fairly well maligned on
Yeah.
this show
I
also.
think we just maligned Jordan Love because of the way where he was selected in the draft and when they had Aaron Rodgers. But maybe we can now looking
And,
at hindsight.
and though, but maybe his where he was selected in relative to other people with the same last name as him
He wasn't even
uh,
the
in
top
his own
love.
conference, right?
Yes, he wasn't even the top love in his own conference in his senior year. Uh, but
Yeah.
Jordan has played fairly well. He's thrown for 60 touchdowns, or he's thrown in the last 2 years. He's thrown for 57 touchdowns, 22 interceptions, almost a 3-to-1 ratio. Quarterback rating of over 96. Um, he has thrown for um, a decent number of yards, fewer yards last year than the year before, maybe a little bit of a setback, but also he only played 15 games last year, rather he played 17 games the year before. So, um, 25 touchdowns last year, 32 touchdowns in 2023. He has led the Green Bay to the playoffs in the last 2 years. 1-2 playoff record hasn't been um, the best. He didn't have a great playoff game last year. He had it was no touchdowns and three interceptions in their playoff loss in 2024 against the Eagles. Of course, the Eagles won the Super Bowl, so no real um, shame in that loss. But um, so yeah, Jordan Love has become easily the starter in Green Bay. He's also, I think, signed now. Does he have a new contract?
Yeah, he has a 4-year, $220 million contract. I mean, it's the second year of that. Uh, actually, all four of the primary quarterbacks in this division are all in the second year of their contract, Mike. So these guys are going to be facing each other for quite a while,
At least two
presumably.
more years, probably. Most.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, looks like Love's probably primary backup is going to be Malik Willis. Uh, Willis, of course, was a third round draft pick in 2022 by the Titans. He played 2 years for the Titans. Um, was kind of beaten out as the quarterback of the future by Will Levis, who's now been beaten out as the quarterback of the future by Cam Ward. Um, then he came to the Packers last year. Uh, was actually 2-0 as a starter in Love's absence. 124.8 quarterback rating in Love's absence as well. 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Almost uh, threw for 550 yards in those 2 games. Uh, so he had a very, very good season as a backup. So he also, when Love was healthy, he Love got injured in the second half of one game, and Willis led the Packers to a game-winning drive against the Jacksonville Jaguars in Week 8. So he actually played in major parts of 3 games. So he maybe is the cemented backup quarterback there in um, in Green Bay. Former Liberty, played for Auburn at first, then went to Liberty later, where he was um, more successful. He didn't really play much at Auburn as a freshman and sophomore. But Willis is a kind of a running quarterback as well. Um, Love is a little bit is mobile as well, but Willis maybe is more of a runner than Love is. So we have Malik Willis as the primary backup, probably Sean Clifford, former Penn State uh, quarterback. So Malik Willis is 26 years old. Jordan Love is also 26. And Sean Clifford is the oldest of those three, actually. He's 27 years old, just turned 27 in July. Um, Former fifth round draft pick by in 2023 by the Packers out of Penn State. 4 years, he was a longtime starter at Penn State, 4 year starter basically. Led them to some good seasons. Uh, Although by the end, he was being pushed by Drew Aller, who is the current starter at Penn State. But Clifford has only he probably has the best for one of the best stat lines for someone who's only completed one NFL pass. He's 1 for 1 for 37 yards, 118.7 quarterback rating. So he does have a fumble lost, however. So that's not very much time. But he's been on the team, but
That doesn't count against your QBR, so fine.
no, no, it might count against your total quarterback rating by ESPN, but it does not count against uh, your passer rating. So um, that is Sean Clifford. Um, and then the fourth quarterback is a guy we hadn't heard of going into tonight, and that is Taylor Elgersma. Uh, Taylor Elgersma is uh, a Canadian born player. He was undrafted in the NFL. He's drafted in the second round of the CFL. He played for Wilfrid Laurier University in Waterloo, Ontario. So he played in a Canadian league in the Canadian League. Uh, he um, it was he won the Heck Crichton Trophy as the top uh, as a top Canadian football player in U Sports, which is what they call the NCAA, is the U Sports League. It's sort of the Canadian Heisman Trophy. Uh, I'm looking through these uh, history these Heck Crichton Trophy winners. I don't recognize any of the names as being great NFL players, but uh,
Have
there's
you
always
heard of any of them at all?
no, I haven't heard any of them. No, Benoit Gru, Eric Glavick. Yeah, no, I haven't heard any of these guys. Uh, but it's got to be a good thing to win the Heck Crichton Trophy, which is the Canadian Heisman. So it looks like he's going to be a developmental quarterback, but he played really well as at Wilfrid Laurier. Um, he's 6'5", 227, so a big guy. Um, he was undrafted in the NFL draft. He was picked up after a tryout at rookie minicamp, so he's probably going to be their developmental fourth quarterback. I guess maybe he could stick on in the pack practice squad. Maybe Clifford or somebody goes away, but probably just a developmental prospect at best. But 6'5", 227, 23 years old, so younger than the other quarterbacks in the room. But yeah, like I said, the Packers, they don't have a lot of age in their quarterback room either. Neither do the Vikings. But any more comments on the Packers before we move on to the Bears?
Yeah, Elgersman did play in the third spot in this last game, so he did play ahead of Clifford, and probably had the best game of the quarterbacks in that game. He was 7 of 11 for 109 yards, almost 10 yards per attempt, even, which is pretty
Mm.
solid. So, yeah, maybe stating his case for sticking around as the third quarterback, even not just the developmental.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be interesting. Yeah. Um, the Bears also have a young quarterback room. However, they have one exception to that, in that they do have a very veteran backup quarterback for Caleb Williams. So Caleb Williams is their number one quarterback. Caleb Williams, of course, was drafted number 1 overall last year by the Chicago Bears, first pick overall. Former Oklahoma and then USC quarterback who followed Lincoln Riley from USC to Oklahoma when he got that new coaching job. He didn't play particularly well his senior year at USC, whereas last year at USC he was a Heisman Trophy winner the year before. But his final year at USC was not nearly as prolific as his first year at USC. Um, threw for about 1,000 yards less, 12 fewer touchdowns. But and also maybe had a bit of a disappointing season in Chicago his rookie year. Although looking at the numbers, they're not too bad. 3,500 passing yards, 20 touchdowns, only six interceptions, 87.8 quarterback rating. 400. He added 489 rushing yards. How many rushing touchdowns do you think he had with 489 rushing yards?
I think several, I would guess, five, six. It seems like
Zero,
seems
zero
like
rushing
more
touchdowns.
of a yeah. So maybe he can't sneak it in from 1 yard out, but I thought maybe you'd think that maybe he'd break a couple or something because he had some. That's a lot of rushing yards to
Yeah, did not have any touchdowns.
not end up breaking one to the end zone, I guess.
Yeah. He was sacked 68 times, so that's
Ouch.
four times a game. So that was not. He also threw a streak of 354 passes without an interception, which is the longest ever by a rookie and the fourth longest of all time for all passers. So he had a solid season, but he was maybe overshadowed by Jaden Daniels as the rookie star in Washington, but 5-12 record as a starter for the Bears. But there's a lot of questions about Williams. What is his attitude like? What is his desire to play football, become a winner? But decent, but he had a decent rookie year. Maybe with a new head coach, uh, he can have even better year this year with new head coach Ben Johnson from Detroit, who kind of turned Jared Goff into a solid player. We'll talk about Goff in a second. But so we have um, Caleb Williams as the starter, and then we have probably Case Keenum as the primary backup, who's been around. So Caleb Williams is 23 years old, and his backup, Case Keenum, is 37 years old. He's been around for a long time. Former undrafted free agent out of Houston, the Houston Cougars. He played for the Texans, the Rams, the Texans, the Rams, the Vikings, the Broncos, the Redskins, the Browns, the Bills, the Texans again, and now this year with the Bears. And he's been a solid quarterback. He had one really good season with the Minnesota Vikings back in 2017. That was the year of the Minnesota Miracle. He then translated that into a starting job in Denver, where he was a little bit less impressive. But he started 66 games overall, 30 and 36 career record as a starter. He didn't play at all last year due to injury, but he was a backup anyway to CJ Stroud. But yeah, so I think Case Keenum's probably he's a traditional kind of veteran backup that you want with a young quarterback, somebody who maybe doesn't have all the talent in the world, but has the experience and knows the offenses and knows what to do, how to prepare for games, these sorts of things. Kind of the Chad Henne, um, Matt Moore kind of backup quarterback that the Chiefs had when they had a young Patrick Mahomes as the starter. So it seems like at least you might say that Chicago is building their quarterback room in a little bit more traditional way with a young starter, veteran backup, and then a couple of other young players. We have Tyson Bagent, the third quarterback most likely, former undrafted free agent from Shepherd University in Martinsburg, West Virginia. He played for the Bears for will be his third season with the Bears. He actually started four games in 2023. You might remember. Had a threw for nearly 900 yards, three touchdowns, six interceptions, 71.4 quarterback rating. But did lead the Bears to two wins out of those four games. So that was seen as maybe a um, a victory. He was actually the third quarterback that year behind Justin Fields, and then Nathan Peterman somehow sneaked ahead of him in the depth chart. But before week 4, he was promoted as the second string quarterback, so he ended up going ahead of Peterman. But he was Justin Fields' backup. But now he'll be probably the third quarterback, maybe I guess maybe the second quarterback going in. Somebody, I would guess probably Case Keenum if there was an injury on the field. Case Keenum would come in first, but maybe if you have time to prepare somebody to start a full game, maybe you'd put Tyson Bagent in. You might think he gives you the best upside, or maybe has the best at this point in his age. He's 25 years old. Um, former Shepherd University quarterback, played for the Shepherd Rams, is what they were known as. Uh, and and then we also
It's
have
odd,
these.
right? Where the nickname is the thing that the shepherd might heard.
Yes, the Shepherd sheep.
Yes,
Well, it
that's
could be the
odd.
Shepherd shepherds,
Yeah, that would make more sense, right? For the herders or something like that, right?
herders, maybe. Yeah, the Shepherd sheep herders. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's like shepherd rams. That's odd. Like, are they shepherding themselves then? Is that I don't understand.
well,
That doesn't seem to be well thought out, Mike.
I don't know what they could. I guess they're better than the Wolves or something like that as the Shepherd team. But then there's
Predator for the thing that the shepherd is supposed to be tending.
yeah.
Yes.
And then we have a fourth quarterback out of Western Kentucky who's actually older than uh, uh,
Not Case Keenum though, right?
Tyson Bagent, I believe. No,
Okay.
Sammy uh, actually a few months older than Tyson Bagent. Uh, that is Austin Reed, former undrafted free agent from last year out of Western Kentucky. He also played for Southern Illinois and West Florida. He played. He was a very solid quarterback in college. He threw for almost 150 total touchdowns over 4 seasons, uh, to 42 interceptions. Um, so he replaced, I believe, Bailey Zappi at Western Kentucky in their high-powered offense. He has not yet played a snap in the NFL. So uh, he was the Division II champion at West Florida, then transferred eventually to Western Kentucky, where he played in the FBS. Washington, Kentucky. But those are the four quarterbacks in Chicago. Three youngsters, one veteran, maybe a traditional quarterback room there. Um, and then we have, last but not least, in the NFC North, and that's the Detroit Lions. Um, do you want to, was there anything to add about Chicago, or do you want to move on to Detroit?
Just a quick note on Chicago. It looked like well, Caleb Williams did play in this game, most recent preseason game. He played pretty well, 6 of 10, 107 yards and a touchdown. Bagent played pretty well in the number 2 spot because it looks like Case Keenum may have been out with an injury. So Bagent was 13 of 22 for 196 yards, got a touchdown. Played looks like the second and third quarters of the game. But then Reed was pretty good too. He was 6 of 7 for 66 yards. So all three quarterbacks that played were quite good. And did you see the score of this game? The Bears
No.
rocked the Bills 38-0 now.
Ooh.
We talked about the Chiefs maybe not having the best game against Seattle. This is much worse, though. Do you think this is meaningful for the Bills, who are maybe my most disliked team right now?
Probably not, but who knows? The Chiefs do play. I guess you can see what the Chiefs do against the Bears next week in preseason, so you have
Right.
that comparison. Uh,
Yes.
it's preseason, so who knows? But yeah, that doesn't. It never looks good to lose 38-0. So at best, it's meaningless, but it doesn't bode well at all.
Right.
Um, so, and then we have the Detroit Lions, who only have three quarterbacks currently in their quarterback room. Jared Goff is the starter. He's been the starter for the last several seasons now in um, Detroit. Started before that, of course, in Los Angeles. Uh, he is 30 years old. He threw probably had his best season ever last year. 37 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 111.8 QB rating, leading Detroit to a 15-2 record. Um, that's in the regular season. He did lose, however, his first playoff game. He's 4-5 in his career in the playoffs, but he's been a solid starter for many years now. This will be his fifth year in Detroit after several years in Los Angeles. Like I said, Ben Johnson though is his offensive coordinator slash quarterback guru now is, however, gone and left and gone to Chicago. So maybe who knows what will happen this year with Goff without the offensive coordinator, because Dan Campbell is not an offensive minded coach. It'll depend on who they get as um, his backup. I mean, who they get as his offensive coordinator, quarterback coach. Um, but Goff, former first round pick, number one overall in 2016 out of Cal, four-time Pro Bowler. So solid quarterback, maybe not the top quarter the top of the quarterbacks, but maybe that second tier of good NFL quarterbacks. Maybe fringe top 10 quarterback even for um, the Lions. Uh, and also he's making a lot of money currently as well. So the Lions are spending a lot at quarterback. That's why they only have two backups. It'll be between either Kyle Allen, uh, former Texas A&M and Houston Cougar, 2018 undrafted free agent, played for the Panthers, the Washington football team, as it was known at that point, the Texans, the Bills, the Steelers last year, now on the Lions. Uh, he has uh, started 19 games in his career, 7-12 record, 82.3 quarterback rating. Um, he's probably competing for the backup spot against Hendon Hooker, the younger. Uh, you know, Kyle Allen is 29 years old. Hendon Hooker is 27 years old, even though he's now only in his third season in the NFL. So he's one of those older quarterbacks as well. He was out most of his 2023 year because he had a knee injury. He was drafted in the third round. He might have been a first round draft pick talent, but he had a knee injury, which led him to be dropped in the draft. So he's drafted third round. Played for both Virginia Tech and Tennessee in college. Uh, Big guy, but he has barely played at all in the NFL. Uh, so he was a good running quarterback, a solid passing quarterback as well for Tennessee. He threw for 58 touchdowns and only five interceptions his 2 years at Tennessee in 21 and 22. So, but he's been hasn't really played much at all in the NFL. So, he's maybe is he somebody that the Lions would trust to be the backup quarterback at this point, somebody who hasn't gotten a chance to play much at all. So that's the question. Is it going to be Allen, the more experienced guy, or is it going to be Hooker, maybe the guy with the higher upside, who was maybe still seen as the quarterback of the future after Goff leaves, even though he's only 3 years younger than Goff. But um, that's the NFC North. Anything else to add for the Detroit Lions, Dr. Steph?
Yeah, they do have it. ESPN does make it a little confusing too. They do have Hooker as number two on the depth chart, but Allen did play with like the first team in the last preseason game, and he did play very well, 14 to 17, 124 yards and two touchdowns. And then Hooker played with the backups that was only 6 for 13 or 61 yards and threw a pick, no touchdowns. So. Uh, Allen played with the better team, had a better line, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's the better player,
Yeah.
uh, or will win the spot as the number two guy. But we'll just have to see what happens with that. But yeah, Goff is one of those guys that does have a big contract. He's in, yeah, second year of his 4-year, $212 million deal. Makes 33 million this year. Next year, his salary skyrockets to 70 million, Mike. Do you think that's something that you're going to expect to see him take a $70 million cap hit, or that, I think that's going to be another restructure sort of
I think you got
scenario?
it's either restructure or release at that point. So,
Right.
I don't think he's gonna make 70 million.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
lot of money.
Yeah.
You
Well, I mean, he may make 70 million, but it won't count as
check the
70 million
cap. Yeah,
against the
yeah,
cap for the team, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully not for the Detroit's sake.
Yeah,
But
like most of the salary, like for the cap hits that you see are like, yeah, around like 30 million or so, even for like the top players that, have like those enormous contracts. But the cap hits don't usually end up being more than about 30 or so, which is a lot to restructure.
yes,
But it happens all the time.
well, shall we move on to the AFC North?
One more quick note I was going to make
Oh,
though. The Vikings were the next to last team in total quarterback spending, 31st in the league,
oh,
at only $8 million combined. So do you think that's what you'd like to see there, or do you think McCarthy is going to be able to make the value out of that
well, if McCarthy makes good value,
work?
then that's great. But if McCarthy struggles, then you don't have a whole lot of options behind him. Uh,
Yeah,
Maybe Howell is still a developmental player that could be a decent quarterback. Maybe he's a little bit like a Darnold in the rough kind of guy, but um,
yeah,
it's basically hinging on the fact that we assume that McCarthy, who's on his rookie contract, will play well uh,
and it
in
and
the
it and
system.
it, it does help that he has some of like the greatest receiver in the game. It's like with
Yeah,
him though, right?
yeah, he does have some really good, even beyond Jefferson, he has some good players on the
Yeah,
team. Um,
yeah.
Well, moving on to the AFC North, we'll start in Cincinnati, where Joe Burrow is, of course, the number one starting quarterback, former number one overall pick in 2020 out of LSU. He played briefly for Ohio State as well before that. One of the great seasons in college football history, his 2019 season, where he did throw, of course, to Justin Jefferson. Uh, uh, and Jamar Chase on that team. So he had some really talented players on that LSU roster his senior year. Um, He's played very well as also for the Bengals, although the last 2 years the Bengals have struggled. They haven't made the playoffs the last two seasons, but Burrow in 21 and 22 has a 5-2 playoff record, including a Super Bowl appearance. So when the Bengals do make the playoffs, they do very well, but they haven't made the playoffs in three out of Burrow's 5 seasons as a starter. A couple of those are because they're Burrow's season was maybe curtailed by injury, but Burrow played all 17 games last year, and the Bengals only finished 9-8. Although it's not Burrow's fault, he did throw 43 touchdowns to only 9 interceptions, threw for 4,900 yards. Really good season. 108.5 quarterback rating, his best statistical rating of his career. So. Burrow, of course, is one of the top quarterbacks in the game, maybe one of the top four consensus quarterbacks. You have Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, and Lamar Jackson probably as the top four, and then maybe somebody like Jaden, maybe even Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, people like that, kind of jockeying for the other positions. They're young, some of the younger quarterbacks in the NFC, maybe, but. Um, yeah, so Burrow is the definite number one choice. He's been his backup uh, is John is excuse me his top backup quarterback has been Jake Browning, who has played fairly well in Burrow's absence. but he's definitely the backup. Former undrafted quarterback out of Washington. He played for the Vikings on the practice squad for 3 years. Also has been in the Bengals since 2021. He had a 4-3 record as a backup and spot starter in 2023 in place of Burrow, 98.4 quarterback rating. Uh, 12 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Did not play at all last year because Burrow was healthy the entire year. So probably we have Jake Browning as number two since he has experience as that. But there's also a new backup possibility in Desmond Ritter, who uh, in his first season now with Cincinnati. He played for the Falcons his first 2 years, drafted as a third round pick out of Cincinnati, out of the Cincinnati Bearcats. So he's returning to his college town. Uh, he was from Louisville, Kentucky originally. Um, but he played for the Falcons, and he was with the Cardinals briefly, with the Raiders last year, and now with the Bengals. 4 year starter at the University of Cincinnati, very successful there. Big guy, good runner as well, mobile, but he had he was the primary starter in Atlanta in 2023, went 6-7, 12 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Not great stats. He did start one game for the Raiders last year, lost that game, but 16 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, 82.6 quarterback rating. So maybe somebody who's still on the young end. He's only 25. So maybe he can challenge Jake Browning for the backup spot. And then we have Peyton Thorne as the fourth quarterback, also undrafted out of college, undrafted out of Auburn, 24 years old, uh, 2 year starter at Auburn. Didn't have a lot of success with the Tigers, but uh, starting quarterback, also at Michigan State in 21 and 22, where he had more success. He did a little better at Michigan State than he did at Auburn, but um, he's probably easily the number four quarterback, Peyton Thorne from Naperville, Illinois, suburb of Chicago. What do you have to say about the Cincinnati quarterback center, Scaff?
Cincinnati did use Burrow for actually played a couple of series in game two, and Thorne did not appear then. So I guess they're seemingly set on their top end of their quarterback room and not worried so much about seeing what they have, I guess, from the number four spot. But Cincinnati's in one of those weird positions where between Burrow and his top two receivers, Higgins and Chase, their three salaries make up a third of their full cap hit for the entire team. So that makes things a little bit challenging, right? From the
Very top
structure
heavy.
of the team sort of perspective, because yeah, you're giving a third of the salaries to just three players, and they're on the same side of the ball, so that makes it a little tricky to manage the rest of the team. So, and that's been kind of the issue with the team too, is that they have not really been able to invest in their offensive line maybe quite as much, and Burrows that have taken a lot of hits. Uh, what do you think's going to happen this year with that? Do you think he's going to be healthier this time, or is he going to be still struggling to stay upright? Or
Well, I think probably you can't invest, like you said, you can't invest a lot in the offensive line with all that money in those three players. So they'll have to really. I think Burrow did get hit pretty hard in those preseason game last. I don't know if you saw that game against Washington. He got roughed up a little bit. So that's preseason. So regular season might not bode terribly well for him. So he's going to be somebody who needs to stay upright for the Bengals to have a chance. But again, like you said, they don't have a lot of money to spend when they spend all their money on premium skill position players. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. But you wonder, well, maybe the Bengals should have done what the Chiefs did with Tyreek Hill, try to spread things out on the roster rather than making it so top heavy, uh, and assuming that the quarterback would be able to lift other players up. Um, so maybe you thought the T. Higgins might be the one to go, or even Jamar Chase, but they're keeping both of them at least around for a little while longer. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Bengals.
And Burrow is there for a long while. Like, I mean, it's how it looks because he is in year three of a 5-year deal. But there are two additional option seasons in his contract, so there's a decent chance, his option seasons are not like ridiculously expensive, like the 70, $80 million
Hmm.
salaries that we've seen from some of these other players. But yeah, they're, I guess, reasonable at 53 and 57 million to add 2 more years to his deal. So he could be there for this season plus 4 more if they, exercise those options. So that's, yeah. Seemingly, Cincinnati has that locked down for a long period of time, but maybe some of these other positions are something that will have to change in the near term, even, right?
Yeah, yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Well, should we move on to Cleveland, who has the largest quarterback room in the NFL because they have not four, not five, but six quarterbacks, at least under contract right now on the roster. Um, I guess we'll start with Joe Flacco since he's been named the starter going into the season. Um, Flacco uh, has played. Uh, he led the Browns to the playoffs in 2023, replacing injured Deshaun Watson. Um, but uh, he's a very long uh, tenured quarterback. He was a first round draft pick back in 2008. He is now 40 years old. He'll be 41 in January. Played for the Ravens, of course, for 11 seasons, then the Broncos, Jets, Eagles, Jets, Browns, Colts, and now back to the Browns. Um, like I said, he had a solid season for the Browns, or five was 4-1 record for the Browns in the home stretch going into their playoff season in 2023. He has a 10-6 career playoff record. He has thrown for 257 touchdowns in his career, almost 46,000 yards. So he's a longtime veteran. He hasn't been a full-time starter since for a whole season since 2017, however. So he's kind of bounced around. He's been a partial starter most of those seasons. So I would guess, I don't know if the Browns think of Flacco as being the starter full time going in or not. That seems a little strange, but he's played his way into the starting position, at least as of now. Um, and he's beaten out, of course, Deshaun Watson. I don't know if we need to go into who or what Deshaun Watson is, but is Deshaun Watson even going to play for the Browns? Has he been playing in the preseason?
Did not play in this most recent game, and neither did Flacco. So with all those guys on their roster, only two of them played in the last game.
Yeah. Of course, Deshaun Watson was a first
Seems
round draft pick
strange.
in 2017, 12th pick overall, 2 picks after Patrick Mahomes. Of course, a lot of people, when the Chiefs moved up in that draft, thought the Chiefs were going to pick Deshaun Watson, but they ended up taking Mahomes instead, to the chagrin of many, actually, at that point. But now, of course, the Chiefs are laughing all the way to the bank into the Lombardi Trophy room because of that move, not only on the football field, but also off the football field. Of course, maybe the Mahomes family has its issues, but nothing nearly as bad as Deshaun Watson's off the field uh, issues. But Watson hasn't really played much. He was only 1-6 as a starter last year, 79 quarterback rating. He's only had he's had he's only played 19 games over 3 seasons for Cleveland since he signed that giant contract. So he has not been what Cleveland wanted, but um, maybe that's deserved by Cleveland. Uh, Maybe another person vying for the backup position is Kenny Pickett, former Pitt Panther. Um, Kenny Pickett is in his first season with the Browns, uh, former first round pick by the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2022, with the Steelers for 2 years, with the Eagles last year as a backup, and now with the Browns for his first year. Um, Pickett did start one game for the Eagles last year and went 1-0. He actually has a 15-10 career record as a starter. Uh, uh, but only 15 touchdowns to 14 interceptions. Doesn't throw for a lot of yards. It's kind of a scrappy kind of quarterback, but maybe not one you want as your starter, but somebody maybe the team will play well for because they kind of maybe a little bit like a Taylor Heineke kind of guy that the team sometimes rallies around because they like the grit of the quarterback. And then we have three other quarterbacks still to go through. Uh, and I guess we can mention the non-rookie Tyler Huntley, the former. Uh, Tyler Huntley is 27 years old, former Baltimore Ravens quarterback, former undrafted quarterback out of Utah in 2020. Played for the Ravens for 4 seasons, then on the Browns practice squad, the Ravens practice squad, and the Dolphins active roster last year, and now on the Browns again this year. Huntley, um,
From Pro Bowl starter to this,
yes, he
right?
was a former Pro Bowl as an injury replacement. Uh, for Josh Allen in 2023. He only started two. He was only 2-2. He was only 2-2 that year as a starter, but he I guess played. He was available and upright to go to the Pro Bowl that year.
Right.
5-9 career record as a starter. He started 5 games for Miami last year, and with Tua injured. Um, so again, he's maybe someone who could start in a pinch. Uh, and then we have two rookie quarterbacks for um, the Browns. They drafted two quarterbacks in the 2025 uh, draft. And the first quarterback they picked was out of Oregon in the third round. That was Dylan Gabriel, 5'11", 205 pounds, former Oklahoma quarterback before that. Threw for 30 touchdowns and only 6 interceptions at Oregon last year. Also threw for 30 touchdowns and only 6 interceptions the year before at Oklahoma. So had some good college success, but he's short. He's only 5'11". Um, but he was drafted ahead of so he's Dylan Gabriel is 24 years old, drafted ahead of more touted quarterback Shador Sanders, who's drafted in the fifth round. Shador Sanders is 23 years old, so almost two little less, not quite 2 years younger than um, Dylan Gabriel, but Shador Sanders is 6'2", so a little bit taller. Uh, Former Jackson State and Colorado quarterback, of course, overshadowed probably by his dad, Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, who was the coach of both Jackson State and Colorado. 9-4 record as a starter last year for Colorado, 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 4,000 yards passing for Colorado. Shador Sanders was thought maybe to be the second quarterback taken in the draft, but dropped all the way down to the fifth round. And again, the Browns took Dylan Gabriel over Shador Sanders, but it seems like maybe Shador Sanders has passed Dylan Gabriel on the depth chart. I'm not sure. Um, it's hard to say what's going on in Cleveland because there's so many quarterbacks. What do you do with all of them? Two are rookies, four are veterans. It just seems like a mess there.
I think Shador Sanders ended up with an injury. I think after between the in practice after his first appearance because he played really well in the first preseason game. He was 14 to 23, 138 yards, 2 touchdowns
Hmm.
before Tyler Huntley took over. And then in the second preseason game, they started Gabriel 13 of 18, 143 yards and an interception. Pretty decent, but yeah, no touchdowns. And then Huntley played in relief there as well. So having six quarterbacks in the room, but only three of them have even seen the field, and uh, one of them was a Pro Bowler a couple of years ago. They haven't seen either of the starting options, and Flacco or or Watson. So that's really strange, like how they're handling the preseason. It really doesn't make a lot of sense because you'd think that, with that many guys, you'd want to showcase several of them early and then maybe trade them away and maybe at least get draft picks, right? But uh just, as something to do with all of these guys, like you're not going to carry five or six quarterbacks on your roster or even on your practice squad. So yeah, what's the point of this? What are they doing here, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, it's just like throwing volume at the problem and seeing if enough sticks. But yeah, they drafted more quarterbacks than they wanted, probably. They brought in more
Yeah.
quarterbacks than they wanted, so it's hard to say what they're doing.
But they're also like not evaluating them either in the system, like in a so it's very I mean that's one of the strangest things to do is to have that much, but then not at least try to get a look at all of them.
Yeah,
So, practice only shows so much. You'd like to see more game scenarios, and you're not even trying that. That seems it's very, very strange. It's counterintuitive, I think, from any kind of historical NFL like logic, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Maybe they're all going to play in the third game, and then there'll be a bunch of roster moves, trades, stuff like that, in the as a flurry right at the very end.
Mhm.
But who knows?
Yeah, who knows what's going to happen? The Steelers aren't doing much better. They have five quarterbacks in their room, although maybe you want more quarterbacks because we know that there's again a little like Flacco. They have an aging starter in Aaron Rodgers, who is now 41 years old. So he is the oldest starting quarterback. He'll be 42 in December. Of course, longtime Packers quarterback from 2005 to 22. Played 2 seasons for the Jets, although one season he sat out last 2023 with an injury after about 4 snaps when his Achilles actually snapped. And then we have this year for the Steelers, Aaron Rodgers brought in presumably as the starter and presumably trying to lead the Steelers to another plus 500 plus record for Mike Tomlin, who has never finished below 500 in his many seasons at the helm in Pittsburgh. But Rodgers, of course, a Hall of Fame quarterback, most likely, one of the top, passing 503 touchdowns in his career, only 116 interceptions, one of the lowest interception percentages of any quarterback in history. Uh, Multiple MVPs, four MVPs, one Super Bowl champion. But again, he's on the tail end of his career now, and you wonder how long he's going to last. Is he going to finish a full season in Pittsburgh? Also, of course, has many odd and fringe political and medical and scientific points of view that maybe attract as many people as his quarterback play at this point. But he's the starter right now in uh, Pittsburgh, and then we also have kind of a muddled uh, uh, four quarterbacks after him. We have former Steeler and once again Steeler Mason Rudolph, perhaps as the backup. It seemed like maybe Rudolph was in line to be the starter for much of the offseason because it took him a while to uh, ended up signing Aaron Rodgers. He was signed not until maybe July, um, the 1st of July, but he played for the Titans last year, but he played for the Steelers from 2018 to 2023 and this year as well. Former third round draft pick out of Oklahoma State. Uh, Probably most famous for being hit over the head with his own helmet by Myles Garrett in a kind of scary on field incident. But he's 9-8-1 as a starter, 1-4 as a starter last year for Tennessee. Uh, 28 touchdowns to 20 interceptions, 84.7 passer rating. He did start one playoff game for the Steelers in 2023, um, having supplanted Kenny Pickett in that game, lost that that playoff start, but signed on a 2-year, $8 million deal in March. So maybe he was probably not going anywhere, but we also have other potential backup quarterbacks in Skylar Thompson, former Miami Dolphins quarterback, former K-State Wildcat. Skylar Thompson, seventh round draft pick out of K-State by Miami. Uh, he played in Miami for 3 years, and then he played this he played in only he started one game last year for Miami. Started 2 games his rookie year, plus a playoff game in 2022 as well. Uh, has not had a lot of success on the field, but maybe one of those kind of developmental scrappy quarterbacks. 28 years old, born in Palmyra, Missouri. Do you know where Palmyra is in Missouri?
Nope, no idea.
It is near Hannibal,
See,
Missouri.
it's not near the Kansas City area because I've never
It's
heard of
part of
it.
the
So
Hannibal Micropolitan Statistical Area.
yes,
I like the micropolitan areas as opposed to metropolitan areas. It's small. Uh,
should the
it
Quad
was
Cities be counted in that category?
they would have that would be a metro area, the Quad Cities.
Yeah.
But 1862, the city was the scene of the Palmyra massacre, which 10 Confederate prisoners were killed in retaliation for the disappearance of a local Union man. So, uh,
Wow.
Palmyra massacre. But that's Palmyra. It has 3,600 people in Palmyra. It is the county seat of Marion County in Missouri, but close to Hannibal. Uh, but anyway, that's Skylar Thompson, former K-State quarterback. There's another former K-State quarterback in Will Howard, uh, um, uh, also on the team. Of course, Will Howard probably more famous for playing for Ohio State than K-State, but Will Howard was a sixth round draft pick this year out of Ohio State, former starter for K-State. Had a 14-2 record at Ohio State last year, 35 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Uh, so 73% completion percentage, so very good. He won the national championship with Ohio State. So, uh, but Ohio State didn't have you know maybe their usual star quarterback. They didn't have C.J. Stroud. They didn't have Justin Fields. They didn't have a guy like that, but they did have somebody who was capable and solid, able to win the national championship. That was the team I picked in the going into the playoffs, and they won that one fairly handily over all the teams that they played. So I feel good about Will Howard, but he's probably not going to be the starter, at least not for a while in your sixth round draft pick, unless you're Tom Brady, you're not going to probably be a starter in the NFL. And then we also have one more quarterback in that quarterback room, and that is Logan Woodside. Again, what he's doing there, who knows? But former seventh round draft pick out of Toledo in 2018. He's been with the Bengals, the Titans, the Commanders, the Titans, the Falcons, the Bengals, and now the Steelers. And Logan Woodside has been around for a long time, but he has not yet started an NFL game. He's actually only thrown 7 passes in his 7-year career. So he's not really somebody who was expected to go into the game, but he's somebody who sticks around on rosters quite a bit. He's 30 years old at this point. So he's not a young guy either. So you're wondering why is he here? You already have veteran quarterbacks in Rudolph and to be a backup to a veteran in Aaron Rodgers. We have a developmental quarterback in Will Howard. We have
Skylar
Scott
Thompson's there
Thompson's
too.
still kind of developmental quarterback who's still pretty young.
Yeah,
So what
but he's
is
but he's made NFL starts, so he's a little more than a developmental guy.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But that's Logan Woodside. Skylar Thompson is 28 years old now, so he's not that young anymore either for developmental guys. So they're
yeah.
uh, yeah. So I don't know what Pittsburgh is doing either in their quarterback room. Again, they're trying to kind of again do what maybe a little bit less chaotic than what Cleveland is doing, but they're still trying to throw a lot of people at the problem with their aging quarterback as their starter.
And in typical Aaron Rodgers fashion, like he has not played in the preseason yet. And Will Howard hasn't either. It looks like he may be having an injury or something because it looks like he's has a a Q next to his name on the Roth on the depth chart too. So it looks like Skylar Thompson has taken the most attempts in the preseason so far. Uh, but Rudolph seems to have gotten the first team reps though. Woodside did get into this last game and looks like he played all right. So, but I would assume not terribly likely to make the roster. Um, the teams in this division are some of the highest paid quarterback rooms. After we do the final team in this group, I'll ask you to see if you can put them in order as to how much the teams are paying their
Okay.
quarterback rooms. So
Okay, so we have the final quarterback room is the Baltimore Ravens. Of course, the starter in Baltimore is Lamar Jackson, former Louisville Cardinal Heisman Trophy winner, also former multiple MVP winner. 2 years, maybe almost won a third last year when Josh Allen beat him out. He was a first team All Pro last year. But Lamar Jackson has been a very solid NFL quarterback. Uh, he threw for 41 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions last year, 119.6 career quarterback or 119.6 season quarterback rating, which is one of the highest in NFL history. Um, Threw for more than 4,000 yards, rushed for 915 yards. Uh, so he's a player who is one of the great running and throwing quarterbacks in the league. He's been fairly durable, at least the last couple of seasons, but he's had some injury history prior to that. Um, he hasn't had much success in the playoffs, only 3-5 playoff record, although he did have a 122.5 playoff rating in the playoffs last season, though they only won one playoff game and they lost to the Buffalo Bills, I believe, in the divisional round. Uh, but Lamar Jackson, there's not much to be said for him to be said other than he's one of the most dynamic runners and throwers in the NFL. And so he we don't really need a lot of, I guess, backups behind him, but you want, I guess, someone capable. Like the Ravens brought in Cooper Rush to be their backup, the former Dallas Cowboys backup who backed up Dak Prescott for many years. Lamar Jackson is 28 years old. Cooper Rush is now 31 years old, former Central Michigan quarterback, undrafted in 2017, played for the Cowboys basically most of his career, a little bit on the Giants practice squad, but also on the Ravens this year. Cooper Rush has started. He started 8 games last year in Dallas, was 4-4, 12 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 83.8 quarterback rating. He started 14 games overall and a 9-5 quarterback rating, so quarterback record. So he's somebody that can win games for you as a backup. So maybe that's what the Ravens want. They want, again, he's not the same type of quarterback as Jackson. He's the kind of opposite. He's a pocket passing quarterback, not the pocket passer like Bryce Young or Kyler Murray, the diminutive, but the pocket staying in the pocket passer, the more traditional
the
style,
traditional meeting.
the traditional meaning. Yes. Um, so that is Cooper Rush, and then we have the third quarterback is somebody who's relatively unknown to us, Devin Leary, former 2024 sixth round pick out of Kentucky, played for NC State before that. He is 25 years old. He'll be 26 in September, so not a young guy either. For his only his second year in the NFL. He was on the practice squad last year. has not played a snap, so he's obviously probably going to be the number three quarterback, practice squad candidate again this year. Um, was pretty successful in at NC State. In 2021, he threw for 35 touchdowns, only five interceptions, 3,400 yards. He also had a pretty good year with Kentucky in 2023. But Yes, he's also not a running quarterback either. He's a rather immobile, statuesque quarterback in the vein of Cooper Rush or Joe Flacco type. So again, so it's a little bit interesting. Maybe the Ravens traditionally have gone with a kind of running quarterback backups with like Tyler Huntley and some other guys that have backed up Lamar Jackson before, but now they're going with more traditional pocket passer. Maybe that's the reflection of they think, well, we have Derrick Henry as a running back, we don't need a running quarterback, and we also have bet in and Lamar Jackson has improved his quarterbacking from the pocket as years have gone on. So maybe we can just rely on uh, a pass first kind of quarterback going in. But that's the Ravens quarterback room, and I guess we've completed our NFC and AFC North journey. But you have some still questions you're going to pose to me about the AFC North and their quarterback salaries.
Yeah, one thing real quick though, would you be surprised to know that Devin Leary did rush the ball 6 times in his first preseason game appearance?
Well, I guess they're trying to mold him into a Ravens style quarterback.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, the first preseason game, the quarterbacks were not good at all, but the team ended up playing well against the Colts. But yeah, combined 5 of 16 for 49 yards and 2 picks. That's not a great line for your quarterback room as a whole. Uh, Much improved in the second game, though. Cooper Rush did go 20 for 30 for 198 yards. Uh, Touchdown and 2 interceptions, though, in the second game. They only Rush and Leary have played. Lamar Jackson's not played the preseason. I don't think they need to see anything from him. He's he's the number one guy, right?
Yeah, they probably don't want to see
Uh,
him get hurt. Yeah.
but several really established quarterbacks in this division, and we spent a lot of time talking about Flacco, but not so much time talking about Deshaun Watson and his contract, though, because he is paid like a number one quarterback, and he's nowhere to be seen in the on the depth chart, really, from the way this preseason has started, and by them already announcing that Flacco will be the starter. But yeah, 3 teams in this division are in the top 10 in spending, and one is just below the midpoint. Mike, you want to take a shot at putting these teams in the correct order for how much each team is spending
Okay.
at the quarterback position?
The Steelers are going to be the lowest
Yeah,
because
Rodgers only a 1 year, $14 million deal,
yeah,
so
they aren't
they're
spending a lot of money.
relatively economical at the quarterback position with
Yeah.
a veteran back there. So you're
Okay.
correct. Yeah, so the Steelers are 19th in the league in spending quarterback spending.
So
Okay,
we have
now you got that one knocked out. Now it's going to be
these
tougher, I
other three
think.
are going to be tough because I don't know which one. Yeah. You have Lamar making a lot of money. You have Burrow making a lot of money. You also have Deshaun Watson making a ton of money too. Um, I'll say it goes um, Ravens. So it goes Steelers, then Ravens, then Browns, then Bengals.
It's you just have the Ravens and Browns flipped, but the Bengals are fourth overall, the highest team in the division for spending. Uh, at 49 million combined. Ravens are sixth, Browns seventh. Pretty close though. It's 47.2 to 44.6 million. So it's really close. It doesn't really matter what the difference is there in spending though. It's that
Yeah.
it's pretty close. So
Yeah.
they're all between 13 and 17% of their roster at that position. So apparently it's manageable enough in that range because there are several teams that are in that kind of capacity. Yeah. But close,
Well,
but close. But yeah, so this time we finally got to some of the top teams in spending, and yeah, we see a lot of veteran quarterbacks, a lot of established players and a lot of interesting sort of prospects that are still at least in their early years of playing. In today we'll have what the AFC and NFC
East.
East next week.
Actually, to look forward to as our final installment of the quarterback roundup. So we have that to look forward to. We also will talk more about the Chiefs and their final preseason game, see how that goes against the Bears, and then we'll see how the Royals are doing. Can they continue their hot streak uh, uh, this next week and get inch even closer toward one of those wild card spots? And we'll also talk about anything else that strikes our fancy. Uh,
I think we'll probably be doing our season win total predictions next week, even.
or is that the week after? We get
Do
we
we
have
have
a
another week? Yeah, we'll figure that out before next time.
We'll figure it out before next time. Yes. I
We
think
may
we have,
talk about Chiefs roster next week too, I guess, right? If we'll,
yeah, if we have time. Yeah.
depending on how things go. Hopefully, it's down to
Right.
just a couple of spots that we don't already know, so we're just speculating on,
We
a
might
few
be,
handful of players at most.
yeah, we might be exhausted by that point going through the quarterbacks.
True.
So we'll see what our stamina is like next
Right.
week. Um, but I think we can wrap up this week's episode of the Morning Trek Power Hour with another job fairly well done. Uh, as I remember, it was as Jay Peterman said to Elaine one time, "Congratulations on a job done." Yeah,
It works.
it
I
works.
mean, it is done,
It
so
is done.
that's
We're done.
technically true.
We're done with tonight. We wish you the best. I guess we didn't look at the preseason over and under totals on the preseason games this past week, but uh, it seems like a lot of games went over again from
I
what I
think
see.
so. I think there were a lot of 40s and 50s. There were some that were well under, but like
Yeah,
New England, Minnesota was only 32, Houston, Carolina, 23 combined. So there were some that were under, but it looks like probably at least half were over.
yeah. So my under my blanket under is looking worse, but I'm still might think I'm using my blanket under for the regular season, like I did last year for most of the season.
Yeah. You did okay last year with that, I think, didn't
Yeah, I
you?
think the blanket under freed me to concentrate more on the individual spreads of the individual games and money lines. So
Yeah.
I ended up winning some money last year with my picks overall. Um,
Yeah. I don't remember how we came out of that last year. I know
yeah,
you beat me. I faded at the end pretty hard.
yeah. It's hard to remember. It's last year. Everything's we're getting old, but we're still able to live within the week and do well when we talk about what's going on this week and next week. So we'll be back next week with another exciting episode of the One Trick Power Hour. Please tune in. Uh, as always, I am Dr. Michael Werman. He is Dr. Andrew Scaff. We are the One Trick Power Hour. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and or our podcast, which is available on many different podcast delivery platforms, including the one you are most likely to use. So we have that going for us, going for you. We appreciate your viewership, your listenership, your patronage. We wish you the very best this week if you're betting on the preseason games, because your interest will not conflict with ours, I guess, unless you're going all over, and then that maybe conflicts with our under. But we aren't really making any bets this weekend uh, that really matter. At least
I don't
I'm
think
not.
we're gonna get that upset about somebody taking the over in these games, right?
I might, but no. But anyway,
Never mind. Never mind. I shouldn't have said
we,
anything.
we wish you the best this weekend. And again, also baseball is heating up. So we'll talk about baseball next week. We'll talk about talking about the Chiefs and about the NFL, AFC East and NFC East quarterback divisions. So we have all that to look forward to next time and much, much, much more. So until then, we wish you a good day.